Hey guys, welcome back to the Roger and Pace podcast.
Episode number 5.
Number 5. Okay, today RP recommends. I'm going to be talking about the SAG podcast.
I'm going to talk about the Zero app, which is a great app for fasting. Then we go into the weekly lowdown. For some reason, I'm talking about Prince Harry and the Royals.
And I'm talking about a burglar sucking toes. Beat
Yes,
that,
you
huh?
do.
Fool's paw. I'm going to go into the gentleman.
I'm going to talk about Leon the Professional, my favorite movie of all time. Then we're going to move into the Maltese connection, body positivity.
Yep,
what
body
that
image.
means.
Yep, CVAs. We're going to go into some personal experiences with the
Yes.
fight or flight response.
We're going into Hefty Smurf, where we're going to discuss sleep and the importance of sleep.
Yep, personal experiences with that. Obviously, boom moments. We share some positivity with you, mindset moments. And then we finish with a listener question.
Listener question, rap school. A guy
Yes.
from Italy is having a bit of a crisis with
It is.
the introduction of an ex-girlfriend while he's preparing to propose. So
Awesome.
that'll be an interesting one. Hopefully
So, episode 5, yeah.
you enjoy it. See you
Enjoy.
guys.
We're back! Number 5, Roger and Pace. It's good to be here.
Yes, it is. Number 5.
Raj, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Jay. How are you doing?
Doing good, mate.
It's good.
I'm glad to be here for number 5. Can't
Me too,
believe
my
we're
friend.
on to 5 already. Awesome.
How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. What happened? Oh, we got some rain. That was great.
Yes,
These
it was.
fires, far out. Today's been raining too, which is great. I think it's going to be raining the next few days, which is
Yes, I think there's going to be hail as well.
Oh,
so it's going to
man.
bucket down a fair bit. So
we
even,
so need that here. Eh? It's been a big relief for the firefighters.
yeah, about 30 or something, 30 or 40 fires have been put out or helped
30 or
being
40.
extinguished because of the
Oh,
rain.
Awesome.
So,
Started seeing a little bit of blue in the sky. I haven't
Yeah.
seen blue in the sky for a while. But yeah, it's been a good week, mate. I got a 25-hour fast in.
well done.
Thank you.
Kudos. That was after last week's episode.
Yeah, I was trying to maybe go for a 36er, but yeah, I'm not there yet. I'll still aim for it. But yeah, 25 was good. That's like 25-hour fasts in 2 weeks for me. Before that, I hadn't done something like that in 2 years. So that's good. And I really feel very clean and sharp afterwards. It's good. I think it'll be something I want to do.
And it's a good
lot more
challenge
often.
as well.
Yeah, it's a good challenge,
Yeah.
a good mental challenge. Yeah, Dad's still been good. Brother had his 51st birthday last night, so that
Wow.
was fun. Yeah, what else? Met with my agent today. Yep,
How was
that
that?
was good with my acting agent. Yeah, so we planned a little bit for the year ahead. So yeah, it looks like there might be some. Well, there's a lot of good shows.
Yeah.
Definitely. American Pilot season happening now, and a lot of good Aussie shows, and just stuff being filmed in New Zealand as well. So hopefully there's some good auditions in the next few months, and even more so, hopefully some bookings. Let's do it.
I'll be fighting roles against you.
Yeah, mate.
Have to break your legs.
Who's gonna? They're gonna look for the buffest man in the building, mate. How was your week, man?
It wasn't too bad, yeah. Did a couple of good things. Went kayaking with my brother-in-law in Sydney Harbour. Around
awesome.
Sydney Harbour, Chinaman's Beach, which was really nice. Pretty exhausting and taxing on the old shoulders, but being out there, we
Bet.
got there about 7 o'clock in the morning, and
Oh,
it's
wow,
nice.
that's nice.
Yeah, the water was clear, and it was just beautiful to be out in the middle of the ocean.
Have you
with
done that
nature.
before?
No, never done it.
Yeah, I've
before.
never done kayaking. Yeah, wow. How was like the air quality as well? Was
It was pretty bad
Yeah,
at that
okay,
point.
that's a
You couldn't
bummer.
see the city. It was you could see the silhouettes. It was like Blade Runner,
Yeah.
that kind of smoggy feel. But that was quite interesting as well. It was like almost apocalyptic.
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean
thing.
that can be kind of a cool, eerie,
Yeah.
suspense, mystery film,
Yeah.
kind of feel. Were you in like Tom Cruise action mode for a little bit?
For a little bit, for like 10 second
10 seconds.
spurts, and then I'm exhausted. I go, screw that.
Yeah,
I'm just going to cruise for a little bit. Some really nice properties there as well.
I
My
bet.
goodness, man.
Wow.
Did that. I'm going to up your 25-hour fast to a 36-hour. Did
Whoa.
that after. So we had a nacho night at home and just gorged on nachos, and they were really good. And
Nice.
then fasted all of Monday, which was pretty. It wasn't easy, but I was so full from those nachos and still, feeling ill that I didn't want to eat all day. So it was no problem. That and yesterday, my little girls found this little injured, poor little bunny rabbit was hiding in a gutter next to kind of underneath a car.
Oh, wow.
Poor little guy. And then I went to see. We tried to find the owner, and we posted in the local Facebook groups for the area. No one claimed him, and I think his legs were broken. Poor little guy, he was terrified. So I went, and it was good for my kids to see that as well, looking after animals, and they were caring for it and going, oh, poor little bunny. We gave it some carrots and stuff like that. And eventually coaxed it out and managed to pick it up and put it in a box, and then we took it down to the local vet and, see if it's microchipped.
Okay,
But
what it wasn't?
I don't know.
So you don't know what happened.
I assume he would have been put down, the poor little guy. But I don't know, because I think he was dragging his legs. He must have been hit by a car.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I'm putting a dampener on the on that, but it was I guess that was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
couldn't imagine leaving the little guy there.
Oh yeah, at least you gave him some comfort then. If it was maybe his last couple of days of life, you gave him some comfort. Yeah, some carrots. It's good, man.
And the Maltese people, man, they eat. I sent
mate.
They eat the rabbits. I sent the picture of it to my family, and they're like, "Ooh, rabbit stew,
mate, for sure." I remember being a little kid. I snuck into my dad's workshop when I was told not to, and I saw a bunch of skinned rabbits. Struggled to eat meat for a while after that. But
my parents kept some rabbits when I was younger at the house with the plan to kill them and eat them. But my mum grew attached and couldn't do it in the end. And then I said, "There's no way I'm eating these guys."
No.
Anyway, rabbits.
All right, mate.
Taste like chicken, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently.
All right, let's move on.
Yes, RP recommends. All right, what are you recommending, Rog?
Well, speaking of fasting, I'm on the fasting bandwagon at the moment. There's an app that I showed you last week called the Zero app.
Oh, yes.
And essentially, it's really simple. It's just a timer. So a countdown timer. I'll put the link in the notes, but it just tells you the amount of time passed, the percentage you've got to go to complete the fast, and it's really easy to interchange between 16 hours, 17 hours, 36 hours, depending on what you do. It's a glorified timer, but I find it extremely practical and much more practical than using the native timer in the in the iPhone.
Yeah, wow. Is it one of those timers where you could set, like, say you're doing the high intensity and you want something to beep at 45 seconds and then beep at 15? No. It can't do all that stuff.
No, it's purely just for fasting. And it gives you some articles on fasting and stuff like that as well.
It's purely for fasting?
Yeah, purely for fasting. There is another timer, like that one I sent, I brought up in the first podcast, I think, called Timer, which has multiple different timers, and you can change. You can make it intervals. You can make it, count down, count up, all those kinds of things. So that's I could use that as well theoretically. But the 0-1 I think deserves use if you regularly into the intermittent fasting.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. What about you, my friend?
I've got another podcast I want to recommend. Last week I recommended the BGB Studios podcast. Still been listening to that. Great stuff. But I've also been listening to the SAG AFTRA podcast. Found out they had a podcast happening too. Seems that everyone's kind of jumping on that bandwagon, but there's so much good content.
All these losers posting podcasts. Who do they think they're going to be, like Rogan?
I know, mate, or Roger and Pace or something. I mean, come on. Yeah. But no, really cool. Another one, like, just keeps you informed about the industry, keeps you kind of in the industry. I feel like when you surround yourself with news on the industry, it kind of keeps you ahead in that space.
I should subscribe to that SAG podcast.
Yeah, and they tell you about, like, deals. I wrote some, like, they've got, like, what new deals have happened. Like, recently, last year, they did a new commercials deal. It's like actor-to-actor talks. And
how did SAG get so powerful? It seems like in Australia you can be part of the MEAA, which is the equivalent union, but it's irrelevant. Like, if you're not a part of them, you're not going to be not going to not get a job. Whereas with SAG, I think they have much more control over the full history.
It's something I would like to look into, actually.
Which one is it?
It's that one there, yeah.
That's Espanol.
Oh, no, not the Spanish one, though, unless you speak Spanish and understand Spanish.
Which I do not.
But for our Spanish audience. But yeah, they talk about auditions, they interview industry leaders, the future of content, independent film, working in background, like negotiating intimacy on set and your rights as an actor and everything like that. So yeah, it helps you be an informed actor, which makes you come across like you're interested in your craft and in the business as well. And I think that just helps with even conversations when you're networking as well. You just know a little bit more about the industry know a few more of the names as well, and the leaders in the industry. So yeah, highly recommend that one,
Cool.
man. SAG podcast.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Fool's Paul. So,
Is it Fool's Paul or is
no,
it
Weekly
the
Lowdown?
Weekly
I beg your
Lowdown
pardon.
first? We can't
This,
miss the Weekly Lowdown.
This whiskey's getting to me.
The Weekly Lowdown. That time. Thank you. Yes.
All right. Look, I'm going to start because I want to get this one out of the way nice and quick because it's not a big deal to me. But if you haven't heard, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have stepped down from royal duties. Is I believe what's happening. So I did a fair bit of research into this, but couldn't actually find out much more than that. Apart from everyone's commentary on what's going on. So
the Queen's accepted.
She's
it. Kind of given them.
There's a few good memes going around of,
really?
You'll
have to send me some.
Yeah, of Meghan Markle putting in her GPS navigation and saying avoid tunnels because the joke is that got rid of Diana. It's pretty.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Not in the best taste, but funny nonetheless. Sort of. Love Princess Diana. Just saying. But anyway, I'm going to put this in kind of the bizarre news because it's confusing to me why anyone really does care. I mean, we're talking about it today, but in the context of why is it a big issue? And there were a shitload of articles about this.
I bet.
None of them really saying anything apart from they're stepping down from royal duties.
Yeah.
And, I'll never understand the term royal watchers. That's a term. Like people that are professional royal watchers and they're just following what's going on. I kind of relate them to people who watch, shows like Googlebox, Googlebox or Gogglebox.
No.
Gogglebox is a show. I think it's worldwide, but obviously I've only seen it in Australia, where they film people watching TV shows.
Oh, I've heard
That's a thing, man.
Yeah,
that's where we're at in society right now.
Wow.
People
Are we
watching
that bored?
TV
Do we have
shows.
that much time on our hands
Yeah.
to just
Imagine
watch
being
other people
such a
watching
loser
TV shows?
where you're watching other people watching TV shows.
I struggle to watch TV series, like legit
me
TV
too.
series and films. But okay, so some people have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And maybe not much
Man,
to do.
get some hobbies, man. We're going to
there's so much
What are we
better
going to do?
things
We're going to
to
do
do.
some archery. We're going to do
Yes.
some Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yes, we've
I want to
been
go to
talking
a
about
pistol
that.
club, shoot some shit as
I,
well.
I took a note down actually for a good club to go to for shooting. I've
really?
been meaning to share that.
Let's do that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Let's do it,
Good.
mate. I saw it on when I went to watch The Gentleman, which is the film I'm going to review today. So hang in there. But one of the previews before the film started was about this rifle club and shooting range.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so it looks fun.
Yeah.
I thought I actually
That
took
it
out my
is
phone
a lot
and
of fun.
wrote it
Did you
down.
do shooting in LA?
No, not in LA. I did some in Colorado.
Okay. It's pretty fun.
Rifles and pistols and stuff. Yeah.
We shot a Magnum
kickback.
in LA and went an AR.
NAR, we did that. I mean, there's a lot of kickback, man.
There
but yeah, it's fun.
It is fun. Anyway, back to the Royals. So the reason why I bring it up was, people they're saying they're stepping down, right? But there's a lot of inherent problems with that as well. For example, they have professional security, probably ex-SAS officers, Royal Protection Officers. So who's going to pay for that if they're going to move into civilian life? They can't really move into civilian life. They're always going to be royals now. So that's
so who's going to pay
issue.
to look after them? Well, are they still going to look after
They have to get protection.
Harry and
Meghan.
And Meghan?
Yep. So
they're
going to
have
government
bodyguards?
Yeah, they'll have to. You can imagine them walking down the street. Yeah, I don't know if you understand
thing.
royals, man. They
like
they
that's
go
the thing.
pretty
They
crazy.
say they want to go into like normal life, but they
can't.
ever really
They can't
happen.
go
So
down
what are you
to
talking
Woolies
about?
on a Friday afternoon in their Adidas flip flops, their hoodie.
No.
It's just not going to happen. So
Who's
anyway,
going to pay for them? Is Harry and Meghan meant to kind of
the taxpayer, the British taxpayer has to pay for that. I assume.
And I'm sure they're peed off by that, right?
Well, that's the only real thing I took out from the many articles that I saw about this was those kind of issues.
How crazy is that? Hey, the taxpayers need to pay for the royals to have their
but I
protection
think-
and all this
yeah.
and that. But they do, I guess, things
do
for the
generate,
country.
a lot of tourism, a lot of money.
okay,
But the bigger problem is, like I said, who really cares? For example, my wife had a thread running on WhatsApp with some of her friends.
Yeah.
Sorry for bringing this up. And they were like discussing it. And it's like, oh, I think Meghan's gonna, leave him after a few years or stuff like that. And I'm like, who cares? They're just. Like, it's like watching Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what people think it is.
I've never really been that into and that invested in the Royals. Hey, yeah,
I like him. You know, he was an ex-Apache pilot, and
I know he went out
do
there
some
and
great
did some
things.
cool things.
He did the Invictus Games. Yeah, have you heard of them?
Yeah,
he did them he's responsible for that.
Oh wow,
that's my understanding. Yeah.
Wow, explain them a bit more to me because I have heard
the Invictus Games. I believe it is for wounded soldiers, and it's like a Commonwealth Games kind of thing.
Yeah, wow.
But for wounded veterans.
It sounds like something from Hunger Games.
I don't think they're killing people like they do in Hunger Games, but
I haven't watched one of those films.
No,
yeah.
I want to. I heard they're quite good.
I've heard, and they're from books.
Actually, I haven't. I just completely made that up.
Really? I've heard they're good, but I don't think it's my style of film.
No.
You know?
This is because it's a female lead. You sexist,
it is that.
misogynist
I'm
pig.
just into male leads, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought that about you.
Woke, mate. I'm unwoke, mate. I'm still sleeping.
All right. What are we in? 15
well,
minutes?
I'm going to bring the weird in.
Of
Yours
course.
was bizarre, and hey, that's why I'm here. That's what I get paid to do. Thanks, mate. Roger's getting paid to make me drunk. And cheers, bud, by the way.
Salute.
Salute. And by the way, I found out, I believe we mentioned this, salud. It's SALUD. I believe that's Spanish.
Oh, really?
That's how the Spanish say it, salud. And salute there, I think is how the Italians say it. But
what about
still don't know how the Maltese say it, mate.
Damn.
So your mum's still going to be upset with me.
Yes.
But anyway, to the weird news.
Let's go. What have we got today?
So
wait. We had the rectal insertion.
Yes.
We had what was last week's? The horn, the dragon
horn on the lower back.
How are you going to top those two?
Oh, mate. Well,
I think you will.
Okay. 20-year-old man wakes up on Christmas Eve in Florida
That
and
explains
finds a burglar sucking on his toes. Am I going to press the right
I
one?
don't think so. Go.
No. Sucking
Jesus.
on his toes. Anyways,
Is this for real?
for real.
Yeah, you verify.
I went to about 4 articles.
Well, that is a thing.
Sucking on his toes. So this guy
toes.
wakes up like, oh man, what's going on? And this dude sucking on his toes. A 20-year-old guy. I don't know how old the guy, the
sucker?
the burglar was. Yeah, the sucker. Anyway, the startled homeowner then told the stranger that he doesn't have. I heard two different cases for this. Like someone said that in 3 articles they said the startled homeowner then told the stranger that he doesn't have any cash, and in one article they wrote that
while the guy had his lips around the guy's toes.
Right?
Come
I don't have any cash, anyway, and then one article said that the homeowner woke up and was like, "What are you doing?" Which sounds like a little bit more legit.
What would happen?
Yeah, if I was writing a script, I'd probably go with that. But anyway, somewhere in there he said, "I don't have any money." And then this is the weird part. The stranger then said he didn't want cash and that he was there to suck toes. So what do you do
Nice
from there?
guy.
Anyway.
Did he ask him to leave?
Yeah, well, police say that a fight broke out and the suspect attempted to grab the man's genitals. So one article said that the suspect grabbed his own genitals, and then the other 2 or 3 said he was trying to grab the victim's genitals. But anyway, he claimed he had a gun, but no weapon was produced. The victim managed to get the man out of his home, and then the man allegedly broke a window and the victim's car windshield in rage. Apparently, he jumped on the victim's car, so he was pissed off outside.
As you would be, like if I'm sucking on someone's toes,
sucking through someone's toes.
Where's the respect in these nowadays?
I mean, especially if you're OCD and you want to get both feet done, and you're halfway.
Yeah, you've got to be even.
Now, you feel like out of balance, and then you're kicked out of the house.
Man, that's the least I would do.
I mean, imagine the effort he put in. Exactly, the effort he put in to get into the house, and then to get only a half job done.
Half suck.
Jeez, half sucks are the worst.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then he gets kicked out, so he breaks the guy's window and he jumps on his car and smashes his windshield in. So, anyway.
And did they catch him?
Well, they took DNA swabs.
I would assume
of
there
the
is
DNA
a lot of
swabs
DNA
the man's
lying
saliva.
around
A lot of
there.
DNA on those toes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were taken from the victim's toes, yes, and the
Okay.
case remains open and under
Wow.
investigation. Who is the mysterious toe sucker?
I am the toe sucker.
I am the
Man,
toe sucker.
What's going on in your life
Yeah.
where you're getting off
Gosh.
sucking toes?
Mate, anyway, that's the world we live in, guys.
Wow.
Royals
All right.
stepping down and people are breaking in and sucking
Well,
toes.
You know, someone broke into Buckingham Palace, I heard, like
Wow.
in the 90s or something
Was
like
he,
that.
was he
and
trying to suck the Queen's toes?
He went into the Queen's bedroom and stood at the end of her bed. I really hope I'm not making that up. I'm fairly certain that happened.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Imagine he sucked on her toes.
Oh mate.
Wow.
Was did he recover after that? After seeing the Queen in bed?
Oh, I don't think she was naked, if that's what you're implying. Again, you sexist ageist.
Oh my gosh, mate.
Son of a bitch.
I must be getting therapy now, you know? Why did I do this? You know? Anyway.
All right, let's go on.
All right. Fool's Paul.
Fool's Paul. Would you like me to begin?
Yes.
All right, so
Go for it.
I'm not talking about a movie that I have seen recently or anything that I've seen recently. However, it is my favorite favorite film of all time. It's
So
called,
you've watched it in the past.
I've watched it many times in the past.
Wow,
It's,
you know, I haven't seen this one yet.
you haven't seen it.
You've always
Jesus,
heard about
man.
Leon, yeah.
That's right. I've talked to you about this.
Looked
You
it up
have
this
to watch
week
it.
as well. Yeah.
It is. It's phenomenal. Like it got a fairly high rating, 8.5 on IMDb.
Yeah, wow.
Something decent, but nothing extraordinary. I think it's in the top 100, top 250. Sorry, on IMDb. But I don't know. There's something about it that I just love. I love the ending. I love the characters. I love Jean Reno. It's directed by Luc Besson in 1994. He made Fifth Element.
That's right. Yeah. French director, right?
That's correct. And Natalie Portman's first film when she
Man.
was 12 years old, I believe.
Phenomenal.
And that's what I think of her role in that movie. And I think, man, why do I even try to be an actor? Like she is just
The way she performed, like a lot of like seasoned adult actresses
could never
would struggle
absolutely
to do that kind of performance.
Yeah, and then it makes me think, why do we even bother training? Like obviously that's innate in her. She had that natural ability, and she's still a phenomenal actress. Obviously, more developed,
she
developed
doesn't-
in her art. I mean, in her craft. But sorry, what you were going to say?
You just think because, like my own experience acting, and like a lot of the good actors, especially the naturally talented actors, have a natural sense of empathy and
Yes.
sensitivity. And that's how they're able to really inhabit a role and to inhabit this make believe life and be moved by it. In a real way. I think but Natalie Hall, from my knowledge, Natalie
Hall.
Portman. Natalie Hall
There's
is
a
an
whiskey,
agent.
mate.
Is that a whiskey
I
as
know
well? There's
Natalie
the
Hall.
whiskey's
Yeah,
kicking
yeah.
in. It's good. But Natalie Portman, from my knowledge, hasn't seemed to live this destructive,
No, not at all.
messy,
She's got
artistic
family,
life.
kids, yeah.
She seems pretty like stable and like I don't
Yeah.
know, like she seems pretty healthy. Like she's been able
She
to
is, yeah.
separate being open and vulnerable and available for her art, but then she seems to be able to step away from that and be in a healthy place in real life,
Yeah.
which is not an easy feat.
It doesn't seem that way. And this character that she started with was a messed up kind of character. It wasn't. The thing was, it was a challenging role for any actress. She was playing, essentially, I'll give you the rundown if you haven't seen it. Leo Montana is a hitman or a cleaner, as they call him in the film, living in New York City in Little Italy. And he gets work, hitman work from the mafiosi named Old Tony, who I forget his name, but he just passed away, the guy that played that character, and he was a great character actor.
Yeah, wow.
Anyway, one day Leon meets Matilda, who's the character Natalie Portman plays, 12-year-old girl. She's got a messed up family. They're in an apartment building, and essentially Gary Oldman is in it, who's my favorite actor.
Did he play one of the cops, right?
DEA, corrupt DEA.
DEA.
Natalie Portman's family or father is hiding cocaine in his apartment, and he's cutting for himself.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman finds out, goes there, and ends up massacring the whole family. Spoiler warning. And Matilda happened to be out at the shops.
This was before the Batman days, hey?
Yeah, way
Before he
before.
was the commissioner.
Yes, long time before.
Changed his
1994. Yeah. And she happened to walk past, she happened to be at the shops when this happened, and she goes back home and she's carrying the groceries. And it's a great scene where she sees one of the cops outside outside her apartment door, and there's blood and everything. And she knows if she goes to go in there and they're going to kill her as well.
Yep.
She goes straight down to the hall where Leon is living, and he looks through the peephole and she's like whispering to him, let me in. And he lets her in, and then that's when the story really begins, where he takes her under his wing, and he ends up training her to be an assassin, a hitman, and it's just a fantastic film. It ends beautifully.
Wow.
The juxtaposition of those two characters. You've got this macho hitman and this poor little girl, and the way he looks after her. So he's developing that soft side.
And they were meant to have a sequel on that one,
They're meant to have a sequel called
With
Matilda.
Her, her growing up and becoming a kick-ass assassin or something.
Yeah, I only just found that out, and it's pretty sad that it hasn't been made yet because filming was delayed until Portman was older. Obviously, she's in her mid-30s now. And in the script, basically what happened was Luc Besson left the film company that owned the rights to that film, and then they decided to hold on to it. So the
film company held on to the rights to this film.
So they're not going to release.
So he couldn't do it.
So it's too late now because she's probably not too old at all
she could
for
still
it.
kick ass, I think.
I think they wanted it when she was still quite young, but much older than 12. But anyway, in 2011, have you heard the film Colombiana?
No.
That was a script that Besson wrote, I believe, about a young cleaner played by Zoe Saldana, and it was supposed to be based off that.
Oh wow!
Because they couldn't get the rights to the original.
Yeah, wow. They didn't choose to go with Portman.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I don't know.
funny.
Maybe they're saving her for that one. Maybe she was busy making one of the Thor movies. I don't know. 2011.
She's there. They're doing the Love and Thunder, I believe. Yeah, that's kind of in the works at the moment. Awesome,
so,
man.
Yeah, 9.5 out of 10.
So a must watch.
I love that stuff, man. Must watch. I can't believe you haven't seen
that one.
You call yourself an actor,
mate? Right? Probably why still haven't broken through yet.
That's exactly why.
I need to watch The Professional.
So it's called Leon in certain countries and The Professional in others.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome!
But it's a great film. I've so recommend it. Like you should really one of those films. That Shawshank Redemption, Godfather. These are the Scarface. See these movies. And this is a beautiful movie, and it just, man, I just love the ending. I love the ending, the way he does it with the. I don't want to spoil it, with the grenade. Awesome shit, man.
The trailer's great, so.
Oh yeah, Sting has a beautiful song.
Really?
Yeah,
Sting.
Shape of My Heart. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, butchered it. So Jay,
nice.
What do you want to talk about?
Can we have a repeat of that, right? Yes, I've got The Gentleman. Which is one I watched last week. I really enjoyed it. Guy Ritchie, written, directed by Guy Ritchie. I mean, to me, I thought it was phenomenal. It has copped a little bit of slack, but it's still rated pretty well. 71% Rotten Tomatoes, 8.1.
Is that because of the inherent racism?
Yeah, it's very unwoke, you know what I mean?
Good.
Which is kind of refreshing, obviously, with all this woke stuff going on and people like changing scripts that don't make like to the point where it doesn't even make sense, you know, like the all women's Ghostbusters and this and that. But so it's kind of refreshing sometimes. It's like Gervais's speech, you know, the Golden Globes. But I mean, I think they're also making fun of the whole racism thing as well. They're not promoting racism; they're making fun of it. But they have like some people said it was racist. Yeah,
of course, some people said it was racist. It could be completely unracist, and people would still say it's racist.
Yeah, even just because most of the heroes were older white guys, so even just straight off the bat, it's going to be attacked.
Well, did you hear about what's happening with the Oscars?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not enough diversity.
Yeah, but how can you? How can you have diversity?
Like it's just like let's just take skin color, gender, and all age out of the equation. Let's just look at good performances and good films.
Yeah, someone said, Scorsese, he's won so many Oscars. Why don't you give someone else a go? It's like that's not how it works. You don't say to Usain Bolt, "Hey man, you won the 100 meters. Why don't you just slow down for the next one? We'll let someone else take it out."
Yeah. It just doesn't work like that. Hey, if he's still kicking ass and out doing the competition, people are saying they're unfairly picking him, that there are other people that are standing out as well, but they're just not getting looked at or noticed. But
it's so subjective. But that is the nature of the business.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, the the people who pick the Golden Globes and choose who gets nominated, that's their thing to choose, I guess, right? Like who are we to say, like, the Academy, exactly. Who, like, and it's going to be a different group, right? Who picked the Golden Globes and
how are you going to please everybody?
Awards there are, you know, exactly.
You can't win in that situation.
Yeah,
there's no participation awards in film. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
But
on.
Great. I've got here, like, I thought it was a great storyline, great action, great editing. There's a lot of cut here, there,
it's
action
typical
shots.
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, right. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but I've heard that's typical of him. And I think it's just phenomenal for him to have written that. You know, it's just hard to write a good script, but then he directs it as well. And he's done it a few times, you know. Great. Hugh Grant, I think he's like the star. And he kind of, he tells the story. But he takes on a weird twist, man. And I heard he's been doing that a lot lately. He's been stepping away from his charming romantic roles, and it's been something he's been wanting to do for a while. And he's been doing that in that TV series. I believe he's been in the TV series.
Oh, he's in a series.
I think.
No idea.
I think I'm right in saying that. But yeah, he plays this like sleazy, self-centered, you know, self-seeking, cheeky, quirky kind of character who's just kind of, he's working for this other guy. I believe he's like what's his position? He's like a private eye, you know, and he's getting stuff on the main guy who's played by McConaughey. McConaughey.
Love McConaughey.
Yeah, he just oozes masculinity and strength and dominance in this role. I think he was very smooth and cool, and I think he fits those roles pretty nicely. Colin Farrell's in it. He's pretty funny, genuine, kind of warm-hearted guy.
Have you seen him in Horrible Bosses 2?
I have only seen that trailer
clip?
you sent me.
Man.
Yeah, that clip. The
He's
clip.
gold.
Sorry. Yeah,
really good.
He's really good at the comedy. Hey, he's kind of not. He's not playing like these good-looking characters anymore. He's just playing these quirky, weird.
Not in that film.
Like he's
overweight.
Even
balding.
in this film, he's just playing. You know, he's got trackies on and he's a trainer and he's just So it's good to see him kind of coming back on the scene because he kind of was off the radar a little bit. You know,
I guess so.
But yeah, I thought it was a good film. I'd say go watch it. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Tonight we might watch 1917.
Yes,
so maybe we'll review that
things.
one next week.
That's a good idea.
But go watch The Gentleman. Leon, get onto it. We'll try and watch a few more things and give you some more things we recommend to watch. Awesome.
Cool, Jay. So this next topic, this is the Maltese Connection, where we discuss politics, cultural events, and society. So this is more about society. So this is a touchy topic, so we're going to tread lightly.
Yes.
But, shall I kick us off?
A little bit more before we get into this one.
So it's going to be, we're blurring lines as a society between the idea of body positivity, which we're all for, being comfortable in your body, confident, you know, no body shaming and all that kind of stuff, right? But there's a point where it tips over into being unhealthy and promoting unhealthy behaviors.
Yes.
And that's what we want to discuss today.
Yes.
So this has been triggered. It's being triggered all the time, but in the last week, Jillian Michaels. So Jillian Michaels is the personal trainer from fame from The Biggest Loser, USA.
TV show, yeah.
And she commented that Lizzo, who's a singer-songwriter on Instagram, I believe it was, that there's nothing beautiful about clogged arteries. And she was having a go at Lizzo's weight and being overweight. And she continued on to say in a following post, I'm not saying that you're not a beautiful person. I'm not saying that you're not physically beautiful, but I am saying that being obese is not a beautiful thing. It's actually a sad thing. Dying early, obesity-related health conditions, bankrupting yourself, which is the number one cause of bankruptcy, health-related conditions. Yeah, wow. And she obviously copped a lot of flack for this. And she had to kind of go into a bit of damage control. But man, this world we live in, it's like you should be able to state facts and not face backlash. I believe this all started from an interview that she was doing, and then she had to follow it up with an Instagram post or a tweet So it wasn't like she just came out of the blue and said, "Hey,
tweeted.
you Lizzo, you need to lose weight," which I wouldn't agree with at all.
No, yep.
Even
I was going to say that's maybe the way she went about it.
Yes.
If she just decided to pick on Lizzo. And
no, that's not how it
do it over
happened.
a
From
tweet.
my understanding,
Okay,
that's
so
right.
it started.
It was an interview, and I believe she was asked something along those lines, and she went on to say those things, and then she had to back herself up, and it just snowballed from there. I agree that we're at a point where we do glorify obesity to a degree.
Yeah, it's all with this kind of, we're trying to get more liberal.
Yes.
And it's funny because we think we're becoming more liberal and we're able to, do what we want and loosen the reins and the parameters of what's good and what's in. And at the same time, then when someone else wants to speak up, then we're like, hey, you can't say that. So we're kind of creating new rules and different rules. But we are glorifying things a little too much. It's one of those the PC movement going a little too far.
Yeah. And it's becoming more and more evident as time goes on. Like you see it every day. You look at photos of very overweight models and it's nothing. I hate that we have to preface this with a statement saying, it's nothing against them personally. It's not that they're not beautiful people. We're not saying that. What we have a problem with is the promotion of severe obesity as being just body positivity, which it's not.
No.
The promoting of it is the problem.
Yep.
And the promoting of it is happening when you post about it and there are articles about it and all this kind of stuff. And then someone gets attacked if they say, well, hold on, that's not entirely healthy. And it's a bad thing because it's not healthy.
It's just the truth. That's the science of it all.
It's the truth.
We're not saying it's not sexy or it's not. Yeah. Well, like we're all about people being comfortable with where they're at, we're not accepting where they're at and loving who they are. But we're also not for people just staying where they are if it's not a healthy place. Yeah. Just like if someone was anorexic, I would be all about them loving who they are. I wouldn't want them to hate themselves and want to end their lives. Yeah. And I'm not for teasing or shaming that person either, especially out in public or even privately. Personally, person to person. Same thing with overweight, obese people. I don't think we should shame them or put them down or say they're not good people. The anorexic person is a good person. Deep down, the overweight, obese person is a good person, and they don't deserve to be shamed or put down or teased. And they should love who they are. But I wouldn't want them to stay there if it's unhealthy. You know what I mean? If it's going to shorten their lifespan, if it's going to cause other issues, which it is. The science behind it proves that it does.
It's not really up for debate in terms of the science.
Exactly. In love, I would want that person, the anorexic person, to get back to a healthy body weight. In love, I would want the overweight person to come back down to a healthy body weight.
And talking about loving your body, which is what the argument is. But a lot of these people will say, or people defending severely obese people is saying, well, they just love the body they're in. It's not love when you are overfeeding yourself and clogging your arteries and all that kind of stuff. That's not loving your body when you are really you're really destroying your body slowly.
And they might prefer their bodies and feel more comfortable in their bodies when they are overweight or even underweight. But if it's not healthy for them and if it's going to shorten their lifespan, then if they care about their bodies and love their bodies, then they would do what's best for the body to live longer and to live healthier, not what feels better. For a smoker, it's going to feel better for him to be on the cigarettes, or even a drug addict. He's going to feel better when he's getting his high, but ultimately it's going to shorten his life. So we want them to go through a period of pain because they're not where they want to be or doing what they want to do, but then they come back to a place of health, and I think even with an overweight person, if at first they might feel more comfortable eating whatever they want and not having to exercise because that's easy, that's like you can be lazy, you can be comfortable, and it takes hard work. We're not saying it's not it's not hard work. It's,
Yeah.
it's not easy to lose weight. It's going to take, but anything worthwhile takes hard work, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a good mental skill to practice.
Yeah.
But once they get down to that weight, they'll probably love their bodies even more. You know what I mean? But yeah, loving
what
your
I
body.
think.
What does loving your body mean? Just doing whatever feels comfortable, or
Yeah.
doing what's healthy to your
Exactly.
body. Like, let's
Yeah.
define what loving yourself means, right? You know, if I loved my little nephew, I love my little nephew. Like, I wouldn't want him to do what's comfortable.
Yeah.
I would want him to do what's best for him.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because I love him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it becomes a burden. Like some people will say, well, why do you care? It's not your business.
Yeah,
well,
each
it
to
is.
their own, yeah.
Yeah,
And
but that's not true, because it becomes a burden on the medical system that whatever country you're in.
You've got some
that's in
stats
place.
here, right?
Well, in Britain, the latest figures reveal that weight-related hospital admissions has risen by about 18% in the last year, with more than a quarter of British adults now classified as obese. So 26% of British adults. I'm interested to see the numbers in the United States or in Australia. But
Wow.
Britain, 26% are obese. So it's a real problem when you have a lot of the world starving, but you have a quarter of your population being overfed. That's obese. That's not just overweight. That's obese.
It's obese.
You know, it's gluttony. That's what it is. It pisses me off that you can't. It's like I'm trying to, you know, pick my words wisely because I don't want to offend anyone, which sucks because I'm not saying anything wrong. I don't hate anyone. I don't have any prejudice towards any people.
Yep.
But you know, I'm in my mind right now. I'm picturing starving kids in poor countries that
Third
don't
world countries, yeah.
and then you can say, oh, I love the skin I'm in while I pound double quarter pounders with cheese all day. You know,
Yeah.
it's not right. That's not right as a society. It's
And
not
thinking
fair.
that's loving yourself because
You
that's
know?
what makes you feel good and feels comfortable, you know? Like that's
No, it's
the
not
aim
right.
now. Let's do what feels comfortable, everybody.
Yeah.
You know? Instead of what's best for society, for us. What are the figures,
Well,
what does the science show?
and here's an
prove?
interesting figure. And I've heard this argument before, fat but fit, which I believe in because I've seen plenty of people
Yes.
way heavier than I am who outperform me with no problems in terms of endurance and you know, doing marathons and stuff like that. Absolutely, that happens all the time. And I didn't know this until I dug a little deeper, but those people who are fat but fit still had a 28% increased chance of heart disease compared to their slimmer counterparts. So actually, just simply the fact of holding on excess
extra
body
weight.
weight drastically increases your risk of heart disease, which is freaking terrible. And now the real problem coming in is you have the flip side where if you promote healthy body image, that's bad.
This is where it's getting a bit
Right.
shocking.
So we'll put this picture up in the video.
Yep.
But essentially, this is just one example, right? It was very easy to find. I heard about it before. But in London, in particular, they banned a protein shake company advertisement where they had a bikini model. We'll have it in the picture, but for people listening, it's a bikini model, and the quote is, "Are you beach body ready?" And it's obviously promoting the protein blend that they have. And now the bikini model is in fantastic shape,
Yep.
but entirely attainable.
Yeah,
Like that's there might be some Photoshop there, but I don't think it's anything extreme. I've seen plenty of people who look like that down at the beach or on Instagram or whatever.
And like just as a side note, that's not only attractive because she's fit and it shows health, but
Yeah.
it also says something about her mindset.
Yeah.
For me, it does anyway.
Yeah.
I find someone who's disciplined and hardworking, who's able to put in the hard work and do what's hard to do. Not just what's comfortable. I find that very attractive.
Yeah, me too. Now
It leaks into other areas of her life.
Exactly,
As well.
yeah.
You'd think that. You'd believe that.
most of the time it would for sure. That ad got banned. This billboard got banned because it was promoting unattainable and unhealthy body shaming connotations. Now, how ridiculous is that? You can't put a picture up of a perfectly attainable.
Yeah.
And even if it's not attainable, that's a real person. That's
and
not
a sign
CGI.
of health. We're not talking about it. We're not putting up an anorexic, runway model here.
Yeah,
we're talking about a fit, just healthy
which we don't agree with
individual. Either. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But then it's okay to post someone who's extremely overweight and heavy and and say that's okay.
Yeah.
I find like that's almost like saying, you know, like going back to cigarettes. It's been about almost 50 years now since it's been banned from commercials on TV. You know, like and I don't know how long it's been off like magazine ads and stuff like that. But like you could say a smoker might feel cool and comfortable, and that might be what makes him happier and
why are you shaming smokers?
And if that's what they want to do, awesome, cool, all right, each to their own again. But like if we start advertising that and saying that's okay, and like anyone who's saying, oh, look at me, I'm healthy, I don't smoke, and like shaming that and saying, hey, we got to ban that, we can't put non-smokers out there, and saying that's the way to go, because like that's going to, you know, make that's going to make smokers feel bad about themselves, and you know, and then we glorify the smokers and say, you know what, you know, he's comfortable, she's comfortable in her own skin, and he loves his body, he's smoking, and like ultimately, it's not about, you know, what you're comfortable doing again. It's what's healthy and what isn't. And if being obese isn't healthy, then that shouldn't be promoted. Yeah. Just like smoking, it's not healthy. If you want to do it, that's up to you. Yeah. But it shouldn't be promoted and put out there that you can do it as a positive thing, and you should feel happy about yourself and love yourself. If this is what you want to do it. Good on you. We're going to support you, and we're actually going to put down people who are not smokers. You know?
Yeah. I understand where they come from or where it originated from, which is, you know, especially with young kids, you don't want them worrying about their body image, especially if they're slightly overweight or if they're overweight when they're younger, which happens all the time. I completely respect that. But again, like we were talking before, it's got to the point where it's tipped over to, you know, no man's land.
Yeah, we're going too far with things. Yeah,
we need to just bring it back a little bit and remember that exercising, eating relatively healthy, you know, you can still have burgers and ice cream. Like I have them all the time.
Same. You know, I had cake last night. I had, you know, I
drinking
had pasta,
alcohol,
I had pizza. Gosh,
but so long as you're balancing that with exercise, then you're fine. But if you don't exercise or you don't exercise enough, then you need to be a little more stricter with what you eat.
And you don't have to be shredded, you know?
No, of course not.
Or like we're saying, you don't have to be, you know, super skinny or anorexic. We're not promoting that either. And I think it's okay.
We just don't want you to have sorry to interrupt, you to have a risk of serious illness and disease and not being mobile when you're older and stuff that you might not realize that's going to be a problem down the line.
And look, at the end of the day, again, each to their own. Everyone has a right over their own body, and they can choose how they want it to be and how they want to eat and how they want to live. But let's just be careful of what we're promoting, you know? You know, each to their own, but let's not just say, okay, obesity is okay to push out there and advertise though.
Just because like you wouldn't promote anorexia.
Exactly.
Yeah, or
you know, or a smoker, Exactly. So
cool.
We can go on about that, but I think, and again, beauty, it's not about a pretty face, or a skinny body. We're not talking about what's attractive to us, and it's not even about physical attraction. We're talking about just what the science proves, and I think a healthy body is the way to go. You know, a balance of exercise, eating healthy, sleeping right, which is another topic we're going to get into today, the importance of sleep, but and just having a good balance in life. So, I think we'll end it there.
Cool.
Bam.
What's next, Jay?
CVAs, controlled violent animals.
Mm-hmm.
We're aiming for it. We're aiming for it. Alrighty.
I think I've lost my sleep notes.
Is it sleep, this one? No, this is
no.
This is dating etiquette.
Okay.
Masculinity.
What's up next?
Are we going to finish where we left last episode?
With the CVAs, I would like to bring up a story.
Yes.
If I could.
Yeah,
just
let's
quickly.
do it.
So this happened about 10 years ago. So this is a CVA story, I guess, and I have a point to why I'm telling it, but essentially, in a nutshell, I went to the movies down at Fox Studios in Sydney, and I was dating my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. And it was one of our first dates. I can't remember what the film we saw, but we sat just as you walk into a cinema and you turn left, and in one of the seats right there. So we were up against the partition where the entrance is, right? Mm-hmm. So we were sitting there, the trailers were on, packed house, and then this guy comes in with two girls, and he had one of those hats on that has the straws, so you can drink your cola or beer or whatever it is. And I was just thinking, oh, who's this guy? It was a bogan, right? A Westie kind of bogan kind of thing.
Where was this again? Sorry?
This was at Fox Studios.
Wow, okay. I was
Anyway.
there recently.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but he walked in. There were no seats available, maybe right in the front row. And he was just completely obnoxious douchebag, walking back and forth, talking loudly, saying, oh, there's no seats, where are we going to go, and all this kind of stuff to his two bogan girls that he was with. And I could hear people starting to get the shits. You know, there were people like, this guy move, huffing and puffing, you know. Then the movie started, and he was still doing it. And he was looking around, standing right in front of people.
There's no seats. Why do they sell them a ticket when there was no seat?
Well, there must have been, you know, one seat here, one seat there,
split
all
up.
that kind of thing. But there were 3 or 4 of these people. So he's standing there. I'm starting to get the shits. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? This guy, he's standing right in front of us now. And he's walking, and then he belched, right? He burped. And more people going, oh. The movie started, right? And I have a switch. Like, I'm a pretty soft guy. And then I don't have a medium. It's that or nothing. And I could feel it building up. I'm like, oh no. Like, I'm with this girl. This is like the second or third date. You know, please sit down. And before I knew it, you know, when you do something out of control, and then you kind of, it's as if you're out of your body. And you're watching yourself do this thing, like, oh shit, look, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think that's part of the fight or flight response too.
Yeah. That's what happened,
what you're doing, right? Yeah.
So I screamed at him.
Yeah, you went into fight mode.
I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was like, I was like, "Oi, fuckhead!" I said, sit down or fuck off or something like that. It was pretty bad. Sorry, guys. But I completely lost it, like a switch. And I was terrified. You know, I'm not doing this from an arrogant point of view. I was shaking. I didn't want to say anything. And I didn't realize I said just came out.
Warn,
no. I had no warning myself. It literally just came out of nowhere.
How did he respond?
He was shocked at first, and he was holding a big thing of Pepsi or Coke, you know, one of those big cups as well. And he had it in his hand, and he was like really close. We're talking 3 or 4 feet. Like we were like 2 rows up, and he was down in the aisle there, and he was like, he started swearing at me. He's like, "Oh, you fucking come outside," or some shit like that. And I'm thinking, oh man, he's got that Coke in his hand. I can see it in his hand. I feel like he's going to throw it. If he throws it, it's on. Like, I won't be able to stop. Like, I don't want to sound like a dickhead, you know, but I wouldn't be able to control myself. I would go after this guy, especially because it's not just me there. And the reason why, eventually it was all good. Eventually he calmed down. He went to a seat down the front in the, you know, where he's basically looking straight up at the screen, and it was fine. But what aggravates me about that story is when that happened, we're talking, I mean, how many people fit in a cinema? Like a lot. There were a lot of guys in that cinema. It was packed. No one stood up to try and back me up in that moment of peril where I couldn't, at that point, I had no fight training or anything like that. If he had come after me, I might not have been able to defend myself. This guy's crazy as well, you know?
Yeah. Was he a big fella?
He wasn't that big, but he was... He was unpredictable, you know, with that kind of behavior.
It's dangerous when you're playing with someone who's maybe mentally not all there either.
I assume this guy's had fights before. I haven't. All that kind of stuff. And I don't want an altercation, you know. I didn't want that to happen. But if 1 or 2 or 3 guys had stood up and said, "Oi, sit down," or something like that to this guy.
Yeah, where are the men standing up and backing each other up?
He backed me up. He could realise that, because I know everyone was pissed off at him in that cinema. Everyone from the front to the back could see him and hear him for this good 5 to 10 minutes of him fucking around at the cinema, right? And if a couple of guys had stood up and told him to sit down and put him in his place, there's no way he would have continued on. You know, but he he had some power because it was just me he was up against. He could probably sense that I was
And you
frightened.
did the hardest part.
Yeah.
You did the
No one else
first
had to
step.
do
That's the
anything.
hardest part. Who's going to break the silence?
Yeah.
Because you don't know if you're going to have other people back you up as well. But you took that first leap.
Yeah.
After that, it should have been easy for everyone else to kind of stand up behind you and back you up as well.
Yeah.
So after you said that, he kind of mucked around a little bit more and then eventually sat down.
Eventually calmed down. Where I didn't, once that happened, and I got to that point of fear and I didn't want to escalate it any further, I said literally nothing. I just stared at him. I stayed calm.
Did he know it was you? Did he?
Oh,
did he eye you?
We were like,
were you
from here to
standing
there.
or something? Or
So I believe I was still sitting down.
yeah, okay. But he saw you, he eyed you, and
Man, we were like from here to the wall.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't far.
No.
It was completely obvious.
And how did Eleanor respond?
She
Like,
was, I think she was pretty scared.
Yeah.
But I think she respected that. Like she was pissed off at the guy too. Someone had to say something. And I'm sick of living in a world where no one does anything to these
no one
punks. And
says
that's
shit,
why that's why he walked into that cinema with that attitude. Because no one
I can do
stands up
whatever
to
I
him.
want. Yeah,
you know?
and they have a sense of power. I could imagine by doing this.
Yeah.
These kind of things.
So the reason why I bring that story up is I think if something like that does happen, you got to back your brother. You know,
Yeah.
if there is an obvious good guy in a situation and he needs some help,
Yeah,
whether
as
it
a
be
brotherhood, we need to stand up for
Yeah.
each other, especially for
Yeah.
our other brothers who are doing what's right and standing up for like righteousness, you know, and doing the good fight. And also we mentioned earlier, as a man as well, like when you're faced with a situation like that and it's a fight or flight and something deep within your core is saying, hey, this isn't cool, man. Something needs to be said. Something needs to be done. Are you going to be the man to do it?
Yeah.
Are you going to step up right now?
Yeah.
And, you know, I've had experiences when I've listened to that call within me and I've had to listen to it and take action, and I've felt good about it later on. Something deep within me says, hey, JP, you did good.
yeah.
You listened.
Yeah.
And
And
you
I
stood
felt
up,
that for
and there's
that,
something
yeah.
like there's almost a deep respect for yourself,
Yeah.
and you feel like you're stepping more into your manhood and into your role as a man. And then there's been times I haven't listened and I've shut down, and then there's this voice in me that lets me know, hey, you didn't step up to the plate today.
You had your
know?
chance there.
Yeah, and it reminds me that that's not cool, and there's a crappy feeling about that, you know.
Yeah.
And thank God we get these things, because then, you know, there's no inner like gauge telling us that when we're being real to who we are and what we're called to be, and when we're not, you know. But I think, like, as a man, we need to listen to that a little bit more as well. And then when someone does listen, we need to also back up as men and support the guy who does take that step. I think it's very important, you know. Yeah.
That's my story.
Nice, mate. Nice.
What do you got, my friend?
As a story like that, I mean, I've had some situations. I remember one incident in Harlem with my ex-wife a while ago now. When was this? This would have been this was back in 2011 when we were living in New York City, and she was looking for a job, like a hotel cleaner, you know, room cleaner. And we were walking around Harlem. In Manhattan, and I remember I was free. I wasn't working at the time, or maybe I was, but I had a free day, and I wanted to go with her, and just to keep her safe and to look after her, because I knew she was going to be around some of those areas where there can be a little bit more crime happening. And I was with her, and we were walking the streets. I think she had done her resume drop-offs for the day, and we were walking back to the subway. And then I remember seeing a couple. They may have been Latino or something. They looked like, you know, street guys, and they looked like they were up to trouble.
Yeah.
And I saw them in the distance approaching us, and I saw them eyeing us, and I felt a bit nervous. You know, I felt like these guys are going to cause some trouble. They're going to say something. My ex-wife, you know, she was very pretty. She would gain the attention of men, but you don't know what to expect, right? And you don't know how to respond if something does happen, and you don't know what you're going to do. And it was just me, you know, and obviously these guys were taller than me. And I mean, they weren't like very muscular, massive dudes or anything, but they were, you know, young, tall dudes and punks. And anyway, as they walked past, I remember they they full eyed, like both eyed my ex-wife in a lustful way and said some flirty words to her, and I'm there, right, holding her hand right in front of me, and man, something again, I had that experience as well. Like I clicked, and like they did it just as they walked past my wife, and I was eyeing them all the whole way, and they did it, and I stopped just there and then, and I again, I don't know, like you said, I don't know what overcame me, but I looked back, man, and I had like fire in me and fire in my eyes. I looked back at them, and I said something. I don't know, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like in an angry voice, like, "F did you say?" Yeah, And I remember they both looked back and stopped, and they started laughing at me, and I just stood my ground there, and I just kept like. Yeah, I was still holding my wife. So I can't remember if I was still holding her hand before I just turned around in rage and just eyed them like a wild animal. Yeah. But I just stood my ground and kept looking at them with fierce anger. Yeah. And eventually they knew I wasn't joking. Yeah. So their laughter kind of died down, and then they were like, "All right, man, all right, take it easy, bro." Yeah. Like, and I just kept staring at them still, and then they turned around and walked off. Nice. And I just held my ground there. I watched them walk away. And I was shaken after that because I was in this place. Like if they had come to fight me, I would have fought. Yeah, it was fight or flight, and I naturally I didn't think about it. I just chose fight. Yeah, and it could have been to my danger. You know what I mean? You never
know, but they're probably thinking the same thing when you exude that confidence.
Yeah, but something overtook me. I can't say I consciously thought I'm going to step up now. It just overtook me. Yeah. I'm thankful that was the response. Yeah. I felt good afterwards that I stepped, and my wife, my ex-wife at the time, I remember she really like respected that. Yeah, yeah. And really let me know that she admired that. Yeah, and really respected that. And obviously as a man, the husband of the lady, I felt great. Yeah. But I was shaken up afterwards, man. It took me a little bit because adrenaline was pumping. I was ready to punch on two guys, if it had to go to that, And look, I'm not one to promote fighting. I don't think it shows masculinity or strength or anything. But like, I also believe in not letting yourself be disrespected, especially when they're disrespecting your lady right in front of you. Yeah. And it's like they said, we don't care. We see you there. We don't care that she's obviously your girl and you're holding her hand. We're going to disrespect you and her, and we don't care. What are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? And
were there that day.
I can only imagine if she was on her own and they were doing something. They may have just said something and walked up, or they may have hassled her and like, tried to get her and really force themselves on her. Who knows? But anyway, I had a moment like that, and but I've had a few moments like that. And then there's been moments I felt like I needed to step up and I didn't, like we've mentioned, and you feel crap about it. Yeah, you do. So I think, man, we want to encourage men to, not that we encourage you to go and fight. I think fighting's the last resort, but also stand up for yourself, have dignity, know your worth, know your value. I mean, standing up for yourself can also mean when, if you're in a toxic relationship, and the lady you're with is disrespecting you, then stand up for yourself. Have the strength to walk away. Yeah, doesn't matter how pretty she is. Don't worry how into her you are. Walk away. And same for women. I guess I'd say the same thing for them. But yeah, man, CVAs. Cool. That's it. Are we going to finish off the dating etiquette, or should we maybe tap back into that next week?
Let's go next week.
Yeah, we were up to you've just done the first date, right? And where are we going to go from that?
About first kisses and stuff like that.
Follow up and texting afterwards. And cool. So hang in. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Episode 6, we'll finish that off.
So what's next? We got Hefty
Smurf.
Okay, do you want to start on that? Because I've just lost my notes, but I'll find them
on my
phone.
Well, we're talking about the importance of sleep. So I think the 3 massive pillars of a healthy lifestyle are obviously nutrition, your diet, right? Physical exercise, moving the body, and then there's sleep. And I think of all the 3, sleep is the most neglected, the one we take for granted. And, society and you could just jump on YouTube and watch a few Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and he'll tell you to sleep faster, mate. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You tell me you need your 7 to 8 hours. I say sleep faster.
That's not bad.
Not bad?
The
Yeah.
Johnny Howard, Arnold.
Yeah,
Just
right?
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. Oh, no. You idiot. Like, man, it sounds weird when I'm doing it.
Oh,
with this
man.
thing.
Actually, I had my notes here all along. Oh, man.
But sleep. Let's go into like our personal experience with sleep first up. Before we talk about the importance of sleep, I would say, man, I'm shocking at sleep.
You've got...
I'm bad at keeping a routine with sleep.
Which is the most important thing.
Which is the most important thing. It's part of like, if you want to sleep better, try and set a routine so your body can get into like clockwork. But I'm bad. I sometimes, I've heard, creatives usually get this burst at night. I usually get a tired wave around 8:30, 9 p.m. and then it's like too early to get to bed,
Yeah.
So then I ride through that and then I can't sleep for a while. So sometimes I'm up till midnight or after midnight.
Really?
And sometimes I know I'm on my phone or on my computer researching, reading, getting back to people, emails way too late. That needs to be, I really believe that stuff needs to be cut off maybe an hour, at least an hour before you get to bed, so you can start to wind down and get off all that, the light off the screens. And then waking up at a certain time in the morning. I tend to, go to bed late and then I make myself get up early because there's a lot of things I want to do through the day. Sometimes I want to go to the gym before the commitments of the day begin. So that makes me get up even earlier.
Yeah.
So... And then even when I do happen to get to bed at a decent time and have the ability to wake up whenever I want and get the 8 hours in, I still tend to just wake up a lot through the night.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean?
So restless.
Yeah, very restless. And I don't know if that's normal or not, but I wake up a few times through the night. And I'm not saying I get up and go eat or walk around the house and read a book or anything, but sometimes I've woken up to the point where, man, I can't sleep. I've been trying to get back to sleep for an hour.
I wouldn't say that's normal.
No.
Yeah.
So then I'd read something or I'd get up and sometimes I'm starving, so I'll eat something or go to the toilet.
Yeah.
But usually it's just I get up and I'm up for a few minutes and I know I'm up. I know I've had a dream and I see what time it is and it's like, oh man, it's only like 1:30 or it's only 3 a.m. and I've got to get back to bed. But it happens multiple times through the night. It's like I don't knock out and then 7-8 hours later I wake up.
Okay. All right.
Are you able to just knock out?
Yeah. I
Really?
fall asleep. I've got some pretty bad sleep habits at the moment.
What are your bad sleep habits?
Well, number one is how I got in this habit, I don't know, but I'm in the habit of obviously I take my phone to bed with me and I will check my emails, check my Instagram, check Facebook, check YouTube, see if there's any funny videos. I'll do all that
Just before you get to bed?
right while I'm in bed.
Wow.
With
And
my
then
phone.
there's you check your John Paul Pace album
Oh, well,
with all the
naturally,
photos in there. Yeah.
that
gosh.
really puts me to sleep.
And I keep sending you more, so that just takes longer and longer each night.
But I've got AirPods, which are fantastic, and I've got them in, and I'll watch these videos, and I know it's not the right thing to do before you go to sleep, but I do it anyway, and I'm trying to cull it. And what I was doing up until last night, so I'm going to really try and not continue to do it, is I'll play a podcast, put it on sleep mode, so 20 minutes, and I'll start listening to that while I lie down. But the good thing about me is I will fall asleep like that. So within 5 minutes, I'm asleep no matter what. And the problem is,
pretty good.
I've got this podcast. I never listen to it anyway. Literally never listen to it. I just in the habit of like I want that. I've always wanted some background noise or some music, but I don't think it's good to have actual headphones in your ears because I wake up in the middle of the night. So I do have some restless sleep, but I think it's because I've got these AirPods in and one falls out and it's hurting my ear. And I take them out and I've got a bit of pain in my ear because I've been sleeping on it.
Wow.
It's just stupid stuff. I don't know why I do it. But
Do you think
that's
maybe
my bad
you won't?
habit.
Maybe you wouldn't fall asleep
No,
in 5 minutes if it wasn't for that.
I still do, I think.
You think you'd still do?
I've never
you'd
really
still
had a
would
problem.
fall asleep?
I only occasionally have a problem getting to sleep. But typically I'll sleep through. But
That's phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
I long for that. It's been
There's
a very
stuff
long
you can
time
use.
since I've been able to knock out completely. Like the last time I remember like knocking out completely and I woke up so refreshed was when I was, I'm talking back 2008, so 12 years ago. I was 25. I was living in Vancouver. I was doing the acting thing there, and I was so tired after I had been there for maybe 3 or 4 months, working in clubs, doing all the hustle through the day, and I hadn't been sleeping well. And then one night, I took a melatonin, and the friend I was living with was a weed smoker, and so I thought, I don't smoke weed usually, so I had a couple puffs of that, and man, I knocked out. I remember just being like on my stomach, like just flat on my bed, man, and I felt like a ton of bricks, and I knocked out instantly. And I woke up, and it was like, and I hadn't moved. I woke up, and I'm talking about, I think it was 11 to 13 hours later.
Jesus Christ.
I woke up like 11 to 13 hours later, and I hadn't moved. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And I woke up so refreshed. I was so rested.
Are you promoting
mentally,
drugs on
emotionally,
podcast?
Physically?
Illegal.
Oh my
illicit?
gosh.
Wow. That's
Look, I don't have any qualms really with, not that I smoke weed, but I see the good that it can do for some people, especially people who are naturally wired to be maybe stressed and anxious. And
I completely agree. It's like if you can smoke alcohol, if you can drink alcohol, why is marijuana such a big problem?
Exactly. Alcohol actually has a negative effect on the body, whereas weed doesn't really deteriorate the body. I don't believe it does. And it's a plant. It's natural. So I'm not promoting to do it regularly. I've seen some people get addicted to that stuff, even though they say it's not addictive.
People get addicted to anything, food.
Yeah, exactly.
As we talked about before. But I used a sleep supplement once because I used to work in a supplement store. It's called GH Blast. It was by Dorian Yates, but it had an ingredient called Phenibut in it.
Is this the one that gave you the heart issues?
Give me some heart palpitations later on. But the first time I used it, I remember I went to bed and exactly what you just described. I didn't move. I woke up like 2 or 3 hours after I was normally would wake up, and I walked around my room going, whoa, what's going on? Like I had been comatose for 13 hours, and I used a sleep tracking app on my phone following that once I realized what was happening, and it was like touch wood, I was dead, because a normal sleep cycle is, deep sleep pattern. And then if you're just listening, my hands down and then up, because then you're close to waking up, and then you're deep again, and you go through.
Apparently, there's
cycles.
4 phases. What did it tell you? What phase you were in for most of the night?
When I was using that supplement, I was down, flatlined. I was in the deepest one, whatever it was, the whole night.
Apparently, 3 is the deepest. Stage 1 and 2 are like the beginning stages, and you're still kind of conscious, especially in 1. But you're like getting drowsy, and then in 2 you kind of like, I've got them written here actually, but and then there's 3 where you're in deep sleep. I believe you don't really remember anything in that stage, and then there's the rapid eye movement, which is
REM
stage
sleep.
REM stage 4. I think that's when you dream and you remember those kind of dreams. You wake up remembering those dreams. But there's stage 3, I believe, if I remember correctly, is the deepest.
I'm just going to rattle off a couple of points I found about how sleep is important. So for weight management, short sleep duration is a major risk factor for obesity. So what we talked about before. Productivity. So there were interns on a traditional schedule with extended work hours of more than 24 hours. They made up 36% more serious medical errors than interns on a schedule that allowed for more sleep.
Yeah, wow. And in a field like that, where you need concentration, it's crazy that they push them to do crazy hours, right?
Yeah, exactly. Athletic performance as well. A study with over 2,800 women found that poor sleep was linked to slower walking, lower grip strength, and greater difficulty performing independent activities. And this is the big one, which I've heard many times before, is a depression link for poor sleep.
Yeah, I've got that.
It has been estimated over 90% of people with depression complain about sleep quality.
That makes sense. When you wake up tired, I feel like, because I'm a person that needs to have big goals in my life, otherwise I'm bored. I've been like that since I was a kid. I need to have this, like Jordan Peterson talks about having that star in your life and aiming for that star, and you might miss the track, but you're kind of getting closer each time, and you need to have that star, otherwise you'll just drift off to anywhere, end up usually where you don't want to be. But when you're trying to have a big goal and a big aim and you're not sleeping well, and you're like struggling just to get through the day, you can't help but think, gosh, how am I ever going to overcome the obstacles that are in the way of me achieving this big goal that's so out there and that requires such commitment and tenacity every day for so long, and that can lead to depression. I know I've struggled with depression because of those reasons. I've got other basic benefits here. It helps keep your immune system strong, helps memory retention, and like you said, improves concentration and productivity, heals the body. That's when your body's actually healing,
Can I bring up something quickly while you remember that? When I'm learning lines for an audition, I'll know from experience that I'll pump out these lines. If it's like 10 pages, like a long script, I'll just repeat them, and I'll know that if I do that right before I go to sleep, when I wake up in the morning, I'll know the lines.
Yeah, wow.
Because your brain, I've read this before. I didn't research it particularly for this, but you just sparked it in my memory. Your brain reassembles information if you get enough sleep.
Yeah, and
so I know, and if I get
sleep,
I will wake up and know those lines, and I didn't know them when I went to bed.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, sorry, continue.
Wow, that's good. And it's crazy because I know I struggle with thinking that I need to stay up until I know them. And I struggle to let go and allow myself to rest when I haven't got the lines down completely, because you feel like you should be doing an all-nighter, and that's lazy. And what if you're just wasting time and then you wake up in the morning and you've got less time left, and what if you don't know them, and better make use of all the time I've got. But in reality, you're actually hindering yourself from learning those lines, and then you have a bad sleep. You go into the audition, most likely because your concentration's off now, you haven't rested, that you'll probably forget your lines anyway, plus you'll look like shit. And with film, the way you look helps as well, right?
It does help.
Unless you're playing a character who hasn't been sleeping, then it could go towards, to your favor. But it also, like you said, maintain healthy body weight by regulating hunger better, staves off depression and inflammation within the body.
Saw that.
So they say 7 to 8 hours is considered healthy. This was interesting, right? Researchers in the United Kingdom and Italy analyzed data from 16 separate studies conducted over 25 years, pretty good amount of time, covering more than 1.3 million people and more than 100,000 deaths. They published their findings in a 2010 article, right? So, it's an extensive study there, right? Those who generally slept less than 5 to 7 hours a night were 12% more likely to experience premature death. And people who slept more than 8 or 9 hours per night had an even higher risk, 30%.
That's a big thing, oversleeping.
Oversleeping is worse than undersleeping, but undersleeping is still bad. Researchers also found that people who reduced their nightly sleep time from 7 to 8 hours to below 7 hours were at increased risk of death from all causes. Additionally, the researchers also saw an increased risk of death from all causes in those who slept for a longer amount of time per night. So they're saying 7 to 8 is what we should aim for. So, when Yanni's saying sleep faster, I did 6 hours, and a lot of people will say that these productivity videos and inspirational YouTubers and YouTube
I've seen
videos.
One where they say, you don't sleep, man.
Yeah, don't sleep. Yeah, it's all BS. But you really got to watch, and don't ever give up, and all. That's another topic we'll bring up maybe about the fine line between giving up and insanity as well.
Give up, you losers.
You know what I mean? But before we get off this topic, maybe I've written down some building good sleep habits, because ultimately we don't want to just promote the importance of sleep, but maybe give you a little bit of something you can take home to sleep better. So we mentioned scheduling your sleep. I think once you get into a routine, we're creatures of habit. So if you can try and get to bed around the same time and wake up around the same time, that would benefit you. Avoid stimulants, obviously, caffeine, chocolate, nicotine.
Also your phone, stuff like that. Try and sleep. I know this is what I'm going to try and do. Try and sleep with your phone outside of your bedroom, so you're not tempted to grab it, and first thing in the morning you don't want to grab it as well.
And try and finish off all the work you need to do on your phone or your laptop maybe within an hour before, an hour before, at least an hour before you get to bed. And then in that hour, I would recommend, and I'm going to try and implement this into my own life, in that hour, start doing things that are going to wind your body down and calm it down, do some stretching, do some meditation, do some reading from a book, an actual hard copy book, not your phone. Saying make your bed comfy. I mean,
Comfy,
that makes sense.
and cold, I've heard.
Yeah, apparently cooler temperatures. So if you've got AC in your room, even better. Exercise regularly. I mean, it says being physically active during the day can help you fall asleep faster at night. Exercise also helps to promote deeper, more restful sleep. Just make sure you don't exercise too close to bedtime. This can leave you feeling energized, too energized before you have to go to bed. So I've noticed that as well when I've done a heavy weight session, especially weights. I feel like that wakes me up, heats up my body. Yeah. But try and release stress through the day. Then there's apps for sleep as well. They've got some here that I want to check out actually. They've got Sleep Genius, tracks your sleep cycles and offers a progressive alarm clock.
That's really good. I've used one similar. So you know how before I said you have your deep REM sleep and then you're almost awake. So those, I believe, I haven't heard of Sleep Genius, but I'm pretty sure it'd be the same thing. You set an alarm, but the alarm is a half-hour block. And then you sleep with the phone, obviously in airplane mode, but it's next to you. And it's detecting your sleep cycle. So it only wakes you up when you're at the top of the cycle. And
why does it wake you up there?
Because if that's in the half-hour block of when you say between 6 and 6:30 in the morning, it wakes you up there because it's waking you up when you're practically awake anyway. You're not in a deep sleep. And it's an enormous difference because when you wake up
and you're in a deep sleep, if your
when
alarm
you wake
goes,
up and you're a deep sleep, you're groggy and you're like, oh.
That's mentioned here somewhere,
But when I used that alarm and I woke up, every time I woke up, it was like I was already awake, I felt. And I was just, all right, let's go. Straight out of the bed, you know.
What if you need to get up at a specific time and like your body's not...
Well, then you're screwed. Then I would set it. If you have to wake up by 6 a.m., make that the last... You make the block from 5:30 a.m. to 6. It's only a half-hour block. It's not nothing extreme.
So this thing note that, okay, he needs to get up in an hour, but he's at that high point in the cycle an hour before he needs to get up. Should we just get him up now? Because then he runs the risk of like within half an hour he might fall back to a
because
deep.
the cycle is pretty fast, I believe.
Yeah.
I remember it was
so it wouldn't wake you
and
up.
It wasn't a problem. It'll just wake you up at the best time for that block of time. So it might not be perfect, but it's much better than, it's gonna know if you go to sleep at 10 p.m. It's gonna know the cycle and know when to wake you up in that half-hour block that you set. Yeah,
wow, okay. It's saying, here it tracks your sleep cycles and offers a progressive alarm clock to prevent sudden waking that's associated with increased tiredness. Yeah, when you're just woken up suddenly. Other apps like Pizizz.
P-Z-I-Z-Z.
P-Z-I-Z-Z. Provides soft music and sounds used to encourage restful sleep. I've found sounds don't really help me out. No. They kind of keep me awake.
I find podcasts help me sleep.
There you
Listen
go.
to you talk.
Gosh. Listen to me talk. Hey, I have that effect on people. Whisper sweet nothings into their ear and make them feel safe. But I also sleep with earplugs.
Oh, really?
I find that they really help. They just block out so much sound. Okay. I'm a light sleeper, so any bit of sound will wake me up. Okay. So that helps for me. Obviously, trying to keep your room dark, things like that. So, get onto that, guys. Yep. Boom. I think that's enough for the
all right. What do we got?
Hefty Smurf section. We've got boom moments.
Boom moments.
Or are we going to do it?
Well, let's do the boom moments and we'll finish with the
listener
rap
question.
Score. Okay. Yep. I'll do mine because it's really quick. I've just got a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, which related to me from last week, which is a story I'll tell in the coming weeks. But it is, do one thing every day that scares you. And
I love that.
I told Jay a story about last week after I left here, went to Rebel Sport, and just really quickly, a couple of kids, there were some thugs there, and they stole something, I believe. It was pretty obvious. And I sort of confronted them. And long story short, that terrified me, and I was really scared. My heart was pumping, but goddamn, I felt alive. And I was very happy that I did that. And, I just felt energized for hours after that.
That's good. That kind of ties into what we were talking about with CVAs and standing up to that inner voice that's telling you, hey, that's not right. You need to stand up for that.
And you just got to do stuff that pushes the boundary and gives you energy.
Makes you
as
feel
opposed to
Yep.
going through your day, just doing the monotonous things. Like I keep a diary every day, and it's almost depressing when I write an entry. It's like, oh, well, nothing happened today. I didn't do anything. So do one thing a day that scares you. I think it's a healthy way to live
That
your
could
life.
just be like, apply for something or check something out.
Yeah, don't go down
new.
the street and push a guy that's 6'2". It's like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
That scares you. But just something that makes you uncomfortable.
And I guess that makes us like try and tune in a little bit more into ourselves and ask that question. Okay, what's scaring you
and why
right
does
now?
it
And
scare
why
you?
does it scare you? And is this something
it
maybe
need to scare you?
you need to confront?
Yeah.
And sometimes on the other side of our fears can be answers to questions we have, and it might even lead you to your passion. Like last week we talked about being curious, staying curious, also staying curious to what scares you and why. And maybe that's where you need to dig into. My one is about when you've got big choices ahead, you've got like a few choices to choose from, and you're trying to make a decision. I think, and I'm a culprit of this. Like I can be on the fence for a while sometimes. I can and look at all the pros and the cons for all the choices I have before me, and then ultimately not even make a choice for a long time. And sometimes, look, I really believe in taking your time and speaking to people, getting counsel, thinking things through, looking at the pros and cons. But ultimately, I really believe in the importance of finally choosing, making a decision and choosing one of the choices you have before you. Look, it's scary, especially when these are big choices, decisions to make, when they involve maybe moving or studying or committing to something for a few years, But sometimes we make them bigger than what they actually are, and sometimes we think, oh, if I move, then that's it, and no, or if I go do that course, then I have to do it for 3 or 4 years. That's not necessarily the case, right? Like you can at least make a choice and start moving, because movement is better than just being on the fence. And I'm a big believer in that. I've seen that happen in my own life where I've just been on the fence and I'm getting frustrated because where I am is not where I want to be, but because I'm not sure what decision to make, I just stay where I am, and it's frustrating me. I'm getting angry at myself. I'm getting angry at my situation. And then I felt that when I've made a choice and just picked one, usually you're not going to. Sometimes I've had moments where I felt a peace inside. Yeah. And even though, like, there was one moment where I was in LA and I knew I needed to get out. It was my second time back in LA. I wasn't happy. I had the choice to go back to Colorado. I'd been there a month earlier, spent a week there. I had a brother there. There was a job opportunity for me there. It was an easier move from LA to drive to Colorado. I had family and friends there. It seemed like the better move to make, but something deep within me said, you need to go to Europe again, and you need to go spend a couple months in Sweden. I had a good friend up there who was offering a room as well. Love that guy. Otto Martinez, shout out to you, buddy. But and that seemed like the crazier option. But for some reason I felt at peace about it, and it didn't feel right to go to Colorado. So I went with that. And ultimately that decision, I felt so much peace being in Sweden and dropping everything and dropping the acting for a couple months and centering myself as well and leaving the club job and getting away from that noise. And then ultimately, a month after, 3 months there, like a month after my 2-month stay in Sweden, I ended up getting that film, the Paul film, man, and then all that unfolded. So I couldn't have planned that. Yeah. But all I had was that peace, Yeah. But sometimes, and usually, not sometimes, usually there is no peace. If there's peace, I follow the peace. But sometimes there's no peace, and then even then, you just need to make a decision. Just jump for one, because once you start moving, and then more answers come, you know what you need to do, and then more answers come from that, and the next step comes, and the next step comes. Sometimes just know, you don't need to know the whole plan, just take the next step, and the next step will come, And if you decide, this isn't what I wanted, then cool, man, change your mind again, and then maybe go for the other option if you still can, But you're moving now, and you're cutting out those options, and okay, this isn't it. But you're moving, that's movement forward. Even if if you're discovering, it might not be discovering what you want to do, but you discover one thing you don't want to do anymore. So that's movement, that's progress, Whereas if you just stay on the fence, umming and ahhing, sometimes that's no progress at all. And sometimes you're never going to know which is the right one until you actually jump into it. So my word is just making a choice is better than prolonged indecision. So just jump, guys.
Cool.
Do it.
That's good, man.
Bam.
Getting out of purgatory.
Yes.
And just
exactly.
Yeah. And
And
when
then
you
just
make
take
a decision,
take a risk, take a jump.
Yeah. And
there's-
it could be the wrong choice.
could be the wrong
you
choice, but
have
there's lessons learned.
You
then.
have to live it and,
Yeah.
wear it, and then make your assessment. Just don't live in the past, which
Yes.
is,
Keep
I'm sure
moving
you do
then
it,
from
I do it
there.
as well. But
Yeah. Keep moving from there, even if it's not what you want to do. It's a lesson learned, and it's moving forward. It's progress.
Yeah.
It's better than just staying on the fence and not progressing at all.
Cool.
So, bam. Listen to the question.
Let's wrap this up with rap school. So we'll try and spend a little bit. This is
This
more
is a-
in-depth one.
So,
So we'll take our time a little bit.
yes.
Hey lads, Andre here from Italy. So I've been
Hey,
dating
Andre.
Hey Andre, how you doing? I've been dating my girlfriend for a few years now, and I am madly in love with her. She even moved
Nice.
from northern Italy to come live with me in Rome. Have you been to Rome?
I have been to
Beautiful,
Rome.
beautiful
Amazing,
place.
yes.
And we've had the best few years of our lives together. Okay.
That's sweet. Nice.
We have discussed marriage, and I'm very close to proposing to her to make it official. However, in the last few weeks, I've begun to have a crisis and have no idea what to think or what to do.
Okay.
Basically, I ran into my first girlfriend, so my ex. We had dated for a few years immediately before my current girl, and I had strong feelings for her, but it ended badly when she cheated on me.
Ouch.
Okay. I don't know why, but I've been put in a tailspin. Seeing her again brought up old feelings, and I feel that there is unfinished business there. To make matters worse, she now works in the same building as me. Poor bugger.
Oh, no.
As me, so I will be seeing her whether I like it or not. I love my current girl, but now I'm second guessing what to do. I've told my girlfriend this. Okay, so he told her.
Okay.
And was
that's
completely honest.
brave.
All
Hey,
we'll see.
congrats on that.
And it was a huge fight. She's saying she needs to know for sure if I want to be with her or not, because she doesn't want to waste any more time if the answer is no. I don't
Understandable.
I don't know what to do. I have feelings for both girls, and I don't want to hurt anyone. But I can't control this feeling towards my ex, but I don't know what it is. Please help. This reminds me exactly of what you literally just spoke about. The guy is at a point where he's unable to make a decision. And if this has been going on for a few weeks, he's because he said he met her a few weeks ago. He's been dragging it out. So, I mean,
It's a tough situation. Yeah. You've got to think, this is the thing that gets me as human beings. We just tend to take for granted what's good in our lives.
Yeah.
And when you've been with someone for a while, it tends to be like that excitement of climbing the mountain and trying to pursue and win someone's love can fade, and there's no like real kind of fighting anymore, so that the excitement kind of wanes,
Yeah.
And then this new person comes up on the scene, or someone from the past that you felt like, especially when it's an ex and you feel like they did the wrong to you.
Yeah.
And it was someone, then you feel like, I know as a guy, you feel like it was someone that you didn't win them over. You didn't, you didn't climb that mountain.
And it's unfinished.
It's unfinished because you didn't climb that mountain. And she cheated on you,
Yeah.
So she thought someone else was better, and it makes you feel like you weren't good enough to keep her and to stop her from cheating. Not that says that, that doesn't really prove anything.
Yeah.
But then, you feel like there's unfinished business. So then you've been with someone for a few years. It's all good. You don't feel like there's any challenge now. It sounds bad to say it, but that's how we feel, right? It's kind of almost in that easy place. And then all of a sudden you're confronted with someone from the past who made you feel like you weren't good enough and you didn't climb the mountain and you didn't finish the job. So there's something in you that says, I need to prove. It's almost like you just want to prove your worth, that you could win them over and get them again. And so it could just be a boredom thing,
Could be a case of the grass is always greener.
Yeah. And there's a sense of excitement, because that was the fish you lost, you didn't catch that one. So you want to try and catch it again. And, whereas the one you're with now, it feels like you're with them. And again, it sounds bad, but we're just trying to break it down to the basics here.
I mean, one of the points that I had was one thing you can't do, which it seems like if it's been going on for a few weeks, exactly what you said before, you have to come to a decision.
Yes.
Whatever it is, because you can't string her along, because it's not fair,
especially
to her.
if she's moved.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously
this
everyone
is your current
wants to feel
girlfriend we're
loved.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems,
especially if you're about to get married, it's a big decision.
Exactly. So choose something. Your ex-girlfriend So she's obviously, it sounds like she's interested in him as well. If he's implying...
I would like to ask a few more questions.
Yeah.
Like, has she been flirting or saying she's interested? Is she seeing someone?
Yeah.
That's another question. Like, does he know if she's seeing someone, and yet she's still flirting? So that shows
she must be flirting with him.
Yeah, if it's making him think that
he's
there's an
implying
opportunity.
that there's a chance, right?
Yeah.
He's deciding between his current girlfriend and his ex-girlfriend or his soon-to-be fiancée. I would ask yourself, by telling her about your feelings, ask yourself this. You telling her, as in your current girlfriend, about your feelings for your ex before you've made any certain decisions, did you do that for her benefit? Or did you do that for your own benefit, to get it off your chest, to make yourself feel better at the sacrifice of her feeling worse, because now she's in limbo, basically.
Look, I understand want to communicate sometimes, and I'm more about communication, but we do have to be watchful as well.
But sometimes as men, I believe we need to wear that burden.
Yeah, maybe communicate with some other friends or something.
Exactly, before putting that pressure onto someone else.
Yeah, because that's hard to hear that news. Even as a guy, if I heard my girl say that to me, that she bumped into her ex and wasn't sure anymore, I'd be like, wow. Yeah. I'd feel very hurt by that.
Absolutely.
Especially if I've moved.
And if her decision, if her decision was, it doesn't matter, I'm going to be with you, then maybe you're better off not knowing that information or knowing it later after she's made that decision. Where you can say, listen, a few weeks ago I ran into my ex and I did have feelings. It brought up some things, but I realized that they're silly or whatever it is, and I just wanted to let you know that happened, but it's completely gone. Yeah. Wouldn't you feel... Would you be happy with that?
I would receive that a lot better than if she was still unsure. Yeah. Now I would start to feel like, wow, what's going to happen? Like I dropped my life to come and be with you, and we're about to fully commit to marriage, and now we're here, Yeah. And especially because it's someone who's hurt them in the past. It wasn't like someone who treated them well that they wronged themselves, or where they made the mistake and now they've bumped into them again, and maybe they feel like, oh wow, maybe there's unfinished business. Like this ex-girlfriend cheated on him, so like that, and that raises another question: is she still the same? Most cheaters, look, I believe people can change,
of course,
but it has to be something that they've wanted to do, that they've decided for themselves they want to do. You can't change them, and they can't change to make you happy. It's got to be something they want to do for their own, for themselves.
It seems like she hasn't. So like Jay said, you need to consider the character of your ex, because if she cheated on you and is now, seemingly she's involving herself, I would assume that she knows about the current girlfriend or the fiancé.
You'd say so. Spoken about it with her.
So if she's involving herself and not, withdrawing herself and saying, hey, and you stay with your... it implies, 100%. If that's what's happened, then that's implying that her character probably hasn't changed.
Because as a guy myself, if I bumped into a girl that I like, we had been together in the past and now she was engaged or something like that, I wouldn't try and cross that line of flirting and trying to get her to come back with me. I'd respect where she's at and just keep it at a friendship level.
Because would you want to be with someone that knows that you're in a relationship?
Yeah, and is not caring about those boundaries
care. What's going to happen down the line? I don't know. Yeah. What's your final advice, do you think?
I would say, man, like, it's a very rare thing to find someone you really connect with. And look, we're 37. I'm still single. I've had a few relationships. And one thing, it's been very hard to find someone that you're attracted to and then that's also trustworthy and faithful and loving and consistent and reliable, honest. If you found a good thing, man, be very careful. Don't take that for granted. If it's maybe a bit of boredom, because human nature, that's just unfortunately how we're wired. We get bored of things that we have. So after the honeymoon period fades, and we feel like there's no mountain to climb, there's no challenge, like we both want to be with each other now and it can feel safe, then I think maybe instead of just finding something else or someone else, just go do something fun together.
Yeah.
You know, change it up, maybe. Maybe you need to change your routine up, you know. I want to encourage, like we've encouraged before in previous podcasts, one of them anyway, we encouraged like having a separateness still within a relationship. I think right. Esther Perel talks about maintaining a separateness in a relationship. When you're in a long-term relationship, you need to make sure that you there's things you do on your own as well, and you still maintain your own life, and maybe your friends outside the relationship. Like, you know, the lady should have her girlfriends, the guy should have his guy friends, and go do some hobbies maybe that you do on your own. So you maintain some level of separateness so that it keeps it fresh when you come together. But there's also some fun things they might need to do together. Like, well, they're in Italy, man. There's such a bunch of countries. They're in Rome. But go, mate, do a trip to Malta. Go somewhere you haven't been before. Go do a trip up to the Laplands in northern Sweden and go check out the Aurora Borealis in winter. Go cuddle up in some ice hut and watch the Aurora Borealis, snuggle up together and next to a fire or something. Do something new. Go do some new experiences together. Freshen up what you already have that's good, and find that love and that excitement and that fun again. You know, romance each other again. Yeah. You know, keep romancing each other, guys. Let's not get comfortable and think, we've got each other now, we're always going to stay with each other. Because then, someone from the past pops up and they're totally bad for you, and you get attracted because it's new and it's fresh and it's a challenge. So try and bring that freshness and that challenge back within the current relationship you're in, where it's beautiful and it's safe, you know, because it's hard to find a good person, man. And let's not let's not waste time and waste our energy and let go of things that are beautiful and to chase something that, you know, might not even last that long anyway. I mean,
my advice is in congruence with yours. I would spend a little bit of time, but ultimately come to a decision pretty rapidly. You know, it's not healthy for you or for anyone really to drag this on.
No, and the girl deserves, the fiance deserves an answer.
If you've been dating her for a few years and you're about to propose and she knows that, she deserves an answer. So you've got to make that call, you know, search your feelings, but essentially, as stigmatized as this term has got, you need to man up, really. You know, make the call. If you make the wrong call, you're just going to have to wear it. But ask yourself, as I said before, is this a case of the grass is greener or perhaps, which I believe it probably is from the sounds of it, you know, just some jitters before you're planning on proposing. You know, which definitely happens all the time. Is it something more? It sounds to me like it's most likely the former, but, you know,
and you know,
have a good think and...
And you know what? There's always going to be temptations. Hey, if not this one, then another 2 years, 5 years down the track, you're going to get older, and there's always going to be new people and younger people. And you know, we don't lose our attraction to other people. You know what I mean? So this is just the challenge of being in a committed relationship. You need to make that choice where just because you're attracted or there's some attraction there that you don't need to follow
that opportunity,
whatever attraction seems to grab you. You know what I mean? Ultimately, love isn't a feeling; it's a choice, and you have to choose every day. I choose to love this person I'm with. I choose to, because there's going to be moments. Obviously, you're fighting. You don't like this person. You might even feel like you hate this person, but you choose love, and love could just be, I'm going to stay around and I'm going to communicate and I'm going to discuss and talk through our issues, and I'm going to keep choosing this person every day, you know. And otherwise no one's going to stay in a relationship, and the divorce rates are going to increase, and the amount of broken families are going to increase, you know. And I think children need their mum and dads around in the house, you know. So and also on a last note, I would like to take this opportunity. He said he was with an ex. She's an ex, but he went straight from that relationship to the current one.
Yes, he said it was his immediate girlfriend before his current.
That's why I'm a big believer in give yourself some time once you've gotten out of a relationship, especially a long one. I'm blown away by how many dates I've been on, and the girls are like I usually like to bring up the question, so when was your last serious date? And when I hear 3 weeks ago, and like last serious relationship, and like, oh wow, how long were you together? 4 years, 5 years.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, girl, give yourself some time. I get needing to fill that void sometimes, especially if you're the one that was left and hurt. But then you need to make it very clear to the people you're dating that, hey, I'm not looking for anything serious, nor should you be. I think. And you need to make that very clear to yourself and to the person you're dating that, hey, I'm just kind of, getting back into single life. If you just want to look for fun, cool, go for that's each to their own. I really think it's healthy to just give yourself some time, hang around good friends, and go out and do things on your own again, find out who you are again post this relationship, because you were one person before the relationship. You've spent 3 years in this relationship. Now you're a different person again. You've learned some things from that relationship. You've had some life experience. So find out who you are as a single person again before, and get healthy and whole again before, and heal from that last person completely. And don't keep looking them up and and keeping a tab on their lives. That's so unhealthy. And move on. And then once you're in that place, then go into another relationship. But for this guy, it's a bit too late. So he needs to make a choice. Don't let something good be lost. And pass you by for a little distraction. All right, mate. I think we're done. Is that 5 done? We've gone into 103.
I knew this was going to be a long
an hour
one,
and 43 minutes. Guys, if you are still listening, thank you for listening. Or if you're still watching, thank you. We appreciate you guys. Please, if you've enjoyed the podcast or any other ones, please share them on Facebook or wherever you can share the link to YouTube or the podcast. Leave us comments if you've got any feedback.
And shoot any listener questions to Roger and Pace, ROGERANDPACE at gmail.com.
Yep, ROGER, right? And
ROGER, yep, AND.
PACE at gmail.com. Yep, any listener questions like the one we've just gone through. Yes, they don't have to necessarily be about dating.
No.
But yeah, please give us a rating. If it's 1 star, forget about it. But yeah, just write us a comment, whatever, guys. Share the love. Thank you. We appreciate you. And this is episode 5. Tuning out. Boom. Bam.
This is Roger and Pace.